Hey YouTube, quick update on the GL. Got the ECU sent out, right? And unfortunately I got some bad news about that whole ordeal because it did come back and I did get it back in the car. But let me show you this little surprise. Yeah. So you know what that means? I had to ship it back to them. Luckily for me, they sent me a return shipping label, so I don't have to worry about paying the $120 again to ship the thing back to them. But I got it, and it still had all kinds of codes in it for emissions. So I drove it a few minutes down the road, right? Got it cleared out, got all the codes cleaned out of it. And first and second gear pulling out of their parking lot was pretty cool and plenty of power, and then it just fell on its face in third gear and never did pick it back up. So I got to browsing around, couldn't figure anything out, right? So I pulled all the codes off of it, 26 of them to be precise, and all emissions codes because all of the sensors are unplugged. So it's given me codes for the EGTs, the exhaust gas temperature sensors. It's given me short circuits and high temperatures. It's given me issues for the AdBlue. I got the counts on my thing now, so now I got to figure that out. It's telling me I got 16 starts remaining. I've started it like 5 times since that 16 starts. I don't know it's not actually going down. It's just giving me the code. So I have to figure all that stuff out, right? I don't know what to do with that yet, and I'll update you when I do. But anyways, I got the ECU back in and drove the car, and it ran like crap. I got all the codes cleared, still ran like crap. No acceleration. The shift points are garbage. It doesn't shift for crap. You hammer down, it doesn't downshift to try to pick up speed. There's no passing people on the highway with it, and it's merging. I mean, it's a little better than what it was before when it was in limp mode. At least I can get up to highway speeds, but not very quickly. Trying to think anything else. When I done my delete as well, I took the pressure sensors, the pressure sensor tubes that come down. There's 2 tubes that connect to your DPF. The 2 tubes are the pressure sensors. You got to disconnect all the sensors there. So I disconnected them from the DPF down there. I wasn't thinking that the sensor itself, which is right here, looks like this little sensor here, was actually technically still plugged in. It just, these metal tubes were not connected to the DPF. That was my bad, I guess. I don't know. Didn't make a difference. But you'll see, you have metal tubes like this here that actually come down and connect into the DPF. One's longer than the other. One connects to the very, very top of the DPF. This one goes to the bottom, and it has this long tube that goes up the side of the DPF. And then this shorter one here connects to the top of the DPF. This is the one I was talking about is really hard to get out. I had to soak in PB Blaster overnight to get the thing out of there. But got it out, but I forgot to actually unplug that sensor. That sensor is actually up on top of your engine. I will post, I got a couple of pictures that I taken to show the location of it. But for a better reference, this here is the engine bay, right? I've already got the cover off. Where I've got the cover off, when you look right up in here, okay, get this thing to focus. You look back in there, you see that bolt? Right there behind that bolt that has nothing on it. Okay, that's where that sensor is. You can get a ratchet in there. I did. I didn't have to actually do other stuff. But this sensor, as you're looking in there, this sensor here actually sits like that right there. So there's a plug in there, like I said, that I just disconnected right here, right? So it's not connected to anything, it's just sitting there. And it would be at that bolt. So you got to get that sensor out of there. This sensor right here. It's a pressure sensor. All right, so now you got the pressure sensor taken care of, right? All the other sensors, the exhaust gas temperature sensors, or EGT, with the long probe, are probably about that, you know, I guess you can't really tell the difference, but they're probably 2-3 inches long, something like that, that goes into the exhaust, into the DPF. Like I said, I cleaned the DPF out, knocked the filter out of it completely, put those sensors back in it, but where the harness comes off of those sensors, they plug into another harness down there to the harness to the car. I disconnected them at the harness where they plug into the car. So they're still disconnected, but they're in and they look like they're connected. So, you know, like I said, my goal is to make it look as legit as what I can. So I've got those disconnected. The primary O2, I believe you have to leave connected, which is the one at the top where that metal tube goes into the top of the DPF, or at the bottom of the DPF, I'm sorry. When you roll up underneath of the car, it's where you see that little pipe comes down the side of the DPF and goes in there at the bottom of it, the back side of it. Right next to that is a bigger sensor, and the bigger sensor is your primary O2 sensor, I'm fairly confident. I could be mistaken. I'm still kind of trying to research that, get better information on it, but I will update you as I'm going. Like I said, that ECU is getting shipped off again, so there will be another video once it comes back. Like I said, I know we're all having these issues. Someone's got to go through all this. It looks like it's going to be me. Almost forgot to put in here too that the other sensors there in your exhaust go down. If you go down from your DPF where the primary O2 and the tube for the pressure sensor goes in, you go on down through there a little bit, and you got that injector where it puts the AdBlue, where that's injected into the system. There is a little plug right there that activates all that setup, but I've got that unplugged right there as well. And then there's a secondary O2 sensor on back. If you look on down the exhaust pipe, there's a another little filter looking thing, which is for the for the DEF fluid, and there is a sensor after that as well, and that sensor is deleted in the tune from my understanding. So to get that one disconnected, there is a plastic tray up underneath the passenger side of the vehicle, and you'll see where the wire goes into that plastic tray. It goes underneath of that tray, between the tray and the car. So if you take, there's like 6 or 8 plastic nuts and 2 bolts. I don't even think there's 6 or 8. It might only be 4. I'm not sure. But you'll see when you get down there. But if you take the ones out towards that particular end of the vehicle, once you get those out, you can pull that tray down. If you just pull it down a little bit, you can reach in there. That wire actually goes up to a I don't know, like a little tray looking thing, and it's bolted to the side of the floor pan of the car, and then there's actually a wiring harness that plugs into it right there. So I've got it disconnected at that wiring harness, and then I pushed the plastic piece back up and reattached all those nuts and put those 2 bolts back in, and that's taken care of. And yes, I forgot while I was down here snapping some pictures, it's not in the video, but the one O2 sensor, the big sensor that I did get the picture of, is one of the 2 sensors that's in that filter for the AdBlue system. There is a second sensor. It's a EGT sensor that goes into that filter right there, and the wiring harness for it actually wraps up around the pipe and then plugs in right there, and I have it disconnected right there where it plugs in. So you get that, you got the SCR module. I got a picture of that as well. But it's here in the back of the car. My garage isn't quite long enough for the vehicle to fit in here and be able to open the hatch. So we'll come back here and I'll show you where it's at. All right, guys, here in the back of the GL, my wife's essentials bag. Ever get stranded, she's taken care of. But you open this thing here up, right? And when you open this up, there's initially a black styrofoam thing in right here that has the lug wrench in it, and it has a hole that goes right here to your DPF. That black thing, you can just grab a hold of it, it just slides down in there, so you ain't got to worry about that. Okay, and then down here you got, looks like part of your jack. Your jack, actually, you can see. So if you ever do have a flat tire, you know where that's at, right? And then you have this little computer over here. This thing right here is your SCR module. I was told you have to unplug it, so that's what I've done right here. It's a similar style plug as the other one. Locks in, and then you have to pull it out to eject it off of the ECU right there, or the control module. So I've got that disconnected. Now I will have to update you again, because you see there's 3 fuses right here, and I was reading on a forum that you have to pull a fuse back here to keep from getting that countdown. Okay, all right, so like I said, I have it disconnected, and after I've had it disconnected, because I forgot to initially disconnect that thing. That is one thing that I messed up on, right? But it is disconnected now. And after I disconnected it, I got the countdown. So my car now says on the dash 16 starts remaining. Even with those 16 starts remaining though, I've already started the car probably 8 or 10 times, and it still says 16 starts remaining. So I'm not 100% sure what that's about. My understanding from Malone Tuning is that I shouldn't have had no lights or nothing. Everything should have been tuned out of the ECU. What happened, I don't know. But like I said, they actually sent me a return label. The FedEx guy actually knocked on my door earlier today, right after I had spoken with him, but I hadn't had time to actually get the thing back out of the car. So I'm going to be mailing that back to them tomorrow, and once I get that mailed back to them, I assume if they're as quick as they was before, I'll have it probably Wednesday or Thursday, maybe Friday at the latest, and it'll be back in there, and I will let you guys know what is up then. So, like I said, this is my update on where I'm at and what I'm doing. It's quite a nuisance. Like I said, shipped it off once, got it back, now I have to ship it off again. I don't know, but signing out.